Welcome home, the home of electric scooting, the Scooter Dome in fabulous Las Vegas, the place where you can throw on a set of headphones, lean back in your favorite comfortable chair, put your feet up, and become educated as to the current happenings in the world of electric scooting. We don't cover PEVs except for tangentially as they pertain to electric scooting or Tesla or those kind of things. There are podcasts that actually cover those issues if you'd like to go check them out, and a lot of them are really good. No, the Electric Scooter Podcast is specific to scooters, but I don't limit ourselves, right? If somebody's going to come on the show and talk about different types of micromobility, I'm fine with that as long as it is scooter-centric. And this episode is scooter-centric. We're going to talk about 3 different models of scooters. And again, I always say if you want to know specifics or you want to get actual riding results and mileage and stuff like that, the Electric Scooter Guide is a great place for that. And Ginger on Wheels, Jimmy Chang, there are a lot of folks that Alien Rides test out different scooters and give you like direct feedback. I am more interested from the perspective of a scooter owner who already owns scooters. I'm happy with the scooters that I own. And you as Scooterhead listeners may be potential buyers. You may be, I would imagine a lot of people, Scooterheads that are listening, actually already own their own scooters. I also own cars, combustion engine cars. And even though I'm not looking to buy another car, I really don't need another car. So why would I be interested in other cars if I already own a car? I don't know. I just am. My father and my younger brother, Durwood. Oh, there's a side story. Dagwood and Durwood. I, earlier this year, visited a scooter manufacturer. We were touring the factory, and he kept calling me Durwood. I didn't stop him or correct him because there was an actor back in the day named Durwood Kirby. Maybe that's where my parents got the idea. I was certainly, I would guess, Dagwood Bumstead, right? There was a cartoon called Blondie, and the guy was named Dagwood. So Dagwood and Durwood, there you go. There's the story. But my father, Durwood, and Dagwood, myself, would always stay on top of the newest cars and the newest innovations. Maybe that's why I transferred some of this to scooters. And to this day, I still listen to a lot of automobile-associated podcasts. Back in the day, there was always all of the automobile magazines laying around the house, Motor Trend, and whatever was popular. Same thing can be said for motorcycles. I always subscribe to motorcycle magazines. And even though I'm not going to go out and buy a new motorcycle or a new car, it is just something that interests me and I enjoy staying on top of. And maybe that's why today and every day I'm interested in new models of scooters. I'm not saying go out and buy any of these models, but if you're like me, maybe you'll be interested. So what I'm telling you, scooter heads, is I'm not going to hop on these scooters and give you my review, but the reason I'm bringing them to you is just because they're interesting. There's something about them that is unique and different from other scooters, and I think if you're like me, you'll be interested. One of them is by Unagi, which I mentioned in the Big Box Scooter Retail podcast, is going to be available or is currently available at different retailers such as Best Buy. And that's kind of cool. And I'm sure Walmart, you can order online and certain Costco's you can walk in and just purchase, or you can always buy online. So Unagi has a new scooter called the Model 11 that just has a lot of innovations that I find interesting. I'm not saying go buy one. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying looks cool and certainly interesting. We're also going to talk about the YCOM S1-X. Come on, guys. Model 11 S1-X. If you're going to name a scooter, do it like cars used to do. You know, the Mercury Montego, the Montclair, the Corolla, Celica. These are names we can remember. S1-X? Model 11? I mean, maybe they could call it the Spinal Tap and say, hey, it goes up to 11, but it's certainly not a performance vehicle, so nah, that won't work either. The third model we're going to talk about is called the Mosphera. So it does have a name, Mosphera, the Mosphera, which is touted to be a military-grade e-scooter. I find that fascinating. They're specifically targeting like militaries around the world. If you want to get your troops to pass through this jungly or trail type area, or just to cover a bunch of ground and you don't want to pack combustion engines or drop them from aircraft into remote areas, scooters makes sense to me. I am for that. And I would like to get I'd like to get my hands on all three of these. But the Mosphera is touted as military grade. The Unagi Model 11 is super high tech, loaded with innovations. And the YCOM S1-X, which in my opinion is poorly named, is aimed at speed, going fast, racing. Put one of those on the track with Ryan. Scooter heads! The Mosphera is the way they're pronouncing it. I would lean towards Mosphera. Maybe that's a European thing. MOS, I would say Mos. They say Mosphera. Manufactured in Latvia, which is a Baltic country. If you remember, there's those 3 countries that are lined up north to south: Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia. Latvia is the one in the middle. It was occupied by the Soviet Union for 45 years, and they got their independence in 1991. Don't think that there's some kind of backwater. Latvia is a developed country. They have high incomes, an advanced economy. If you look at this thing called the Human Development Index, they rank really high. They're good for civil liberties, press freedom, internet freedom, all that kind of stuff, peacefulness. So just because you don't hear about them a lot doesn't mean they're not a first world fully developed country. They are. Just judging by their website, Mosphera.com, I am kind of impressed by this scooter that will be built in Europe. And let's get the elephant in the room out of the way really quick. Price tag, what they say, is 7,500 euros. I don't know what that is in US dollars, maybe 8,000 or approaching $8,000, depending. The rate goes up and down all the time. But they say if you pre-order, they are making units available for 5,000 euros. And it sounds to me like you get what you pay for, but who knows? I'm just reading this off of the internet, right? And right on their top of their webpage, the first thing you see is, I love these little, they kind of make catchy phrases that are all about marketing. In different countries, I love collecting them. I've just seen some really crazy English, your non-obtuse path to your glorious lifestyle. Yeah, just weird stuff like that. Here's what they say on their webpage. Charge your freedom in big bold letters. Charge your freedom? So put it on a credit card, I guess. All right. And they're calling it an ATV electric scooter. That's what I meant by something new, innovative. It comes in these camo colors. It's awesome. 17-inch tires, scooter heads. Do you hear me? This thing is unbelievable. That price, if they deliver what they're promising, seems to me to be reasonable. And this little marketing phrase I do like because it appeals to me. We made it because we couldn't get it. That's why I do this podcast. I talked to the electric scooter guide. I said, please, will you guys do a podcast? I like listening to podcasts and I like scooters, and there isn't one out there. And they said they didn't want to do that, or they didn't want to pursue it for whatever reason. And there are lots of podcasts about PEVs in general and micromobility and all that kind of stuff that are pretty wide, and they focus on renewable energy and things like that. But this is the scooter podcast. It's about scooters. So they are saying they produced the Mosphera ATV scooter because nobody else was making one. You know, the Wolf Warrior there's a couple that are kind of bordering on that, but I do see what they mean. Their number one priority, since it's going to be used for military, I can see other uses like hunting, agriculture, other government uses and that kind of thing. Durability. That's what they focus on, is durability. Do you know that in many countries in Africa, if you offered a person a brand new Mercedes Benz or a 10-year-old Toyota, they would take the Toyota 10 times out of 10, not even 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, because durability. But then again, in Africa, parts availability is huge, being able to repair something. And that's the whole reason. Nobody wants a Mercedes because if something breaks, you park it, right? But as far as, at least in some countries, some of these remote countries that I've been to, and to be fair, as they would say on Letterkenny, I'm not talking about South Africa, Egypt, Morocco. I am talking about remote countries where it is difficult to get parts, and they really rely on Toyota quite a bit. Now, if you have money, go for the Land Cruiser because they're indestructible, and you can get over 250,000 miles on one of those engines. But the Yaris, the Toyota Yaris, is ubiquitous. Japan has incentives for their citizens to always drive newer cars, so there's a steep depreciation if you ride or drive an old car. So they get sold en masse to the Middle East, where they turn them around, and if they have to move the steering wheel to the other side, they do that and then sell them at reasonable prices to different countries around the world, mainly Africa. My friends and acquaintances that I've made and met there, 100%. And they'll tell you, oh yeah, ask anybody, we'll take the Toyota all day long. So the main priority, it says right on the webpage, is durability. The Mosphera has been developed in collaboration with the Federation of Security and Defense Industries, some organization in Latvia apparently. It was designed and developed for special forces, patrols, border control, effective mobility within military bases and airports. I can see that. You know, you're a soldier or general, whatever you are, and you need to get from one side of the base to the other. You want to get in a combustion engine car and pollute on your way to the other side of the base, or just jump on a scooter and boom, you're there in no time. we talked about on an earlier podcast how in Italy, it wasn't revealed to me who it was. I can kind of guess. But the owner of a large, famous Italian automobile factory uses scooter. I think specifically it was a Fat Scooter, P-H-A-T, scooters, manufactured down in Phoenix, Arizona. And he uses that because car factories are big, right? To get from one side of his factory to the other. So it also gives him good FaceTime with people working on the assembly line. Hey, there goes the boss, and you can actually see his face. He's cruising right by you. So let's talk about durability on the Mosphera. Hand welded from steel tubing. It is, well, here's market speak, optimal solution for a performance vehicle. Engineered flex and stiffness for a ride feel that cannot be matched by aluminum. Well, I think I gotta agree with that. And if you go on the YouTubes, you'll find a lot of really cool videos about the Mosphera. Another thing I do really like, optimized for stand-up riding, because that's the fun part. Go 20 miles in a car behind the wheel. Now get up on the hood and go the same 20 miles standing up and feel the difference. So, as usual, they're going to say it's designed with urban and off-road capabilities and endurance. The optimal ride is designed for the optimal ride experience to be standing up and still maintaining a fairly compact size. So you can fold this, yes, and put it into a vehicle. For more convenient transportation and whatever riding environment you happen to be in, they have designed this scooter to easily fold to a size that will comfortably fit in the back of a car. So that appeals to me also because, as you know, I cruise around in my DIY van, pull out my scooter. If I see a place that looks cool to scoot and just head off-road. For folks that are interested in statistics, it has 6,000 watts of power, a hub drive motor, custom programmed sine wave intelligent vector, 120 amp DC, 400 amp AC controller, 2,500 watt hours of lithium ion battery. That's 2,500 watt hours lithium ion battery that'll give you up to 100 kilometers an hour. That's what they say. What is that, 60-something miles per hour? And they say it can cover with standard equipment 150 kilometers on one charge. But it can also have an additional swappable battery so you can get 300 kilometers. I'm not going to believe that. I'll cut that in half. I will say you can get 75 kilometers. And with two batteries, maybe you get 150. Sorry, I'm cynical. I'm skeptic. Cutting it in half is just a wild guess. If you watch the Electric Scooter Guide or are familiar with their testing, it is super rare for a manufacturer to be accurate on the range of any particular scooter. I think the Fluid Freeride Horizon was an exception. They were actually able to go further than what the manufacturer said. But, it depends on so many different things, like rider weight, whether you're going up and down a hill, what type of surface you are scooting on. Do you have a backpack? Are you using dual motors, if it's a dual motor scooter, or single motor scooter? There are just way too many factories. So as a somewhat of a cynic, I just kind of cut in half whatever the manufacturer says. But knowing, of course, that's not an accurate way to judge the range on a scooter. I don't know range on any of my scooters because after I ride them, I hook them right up and I charge them. I'm not in the business of, I should be because I'm a scooter podcaster, right? But there's better things to do in the day to pull out my calculator and do that kind of thing. I'm more into having fun, and then I'll report on that fun. They say, of course, that their suspension is designed for traction and comfort. And the videos show this guy going through pretty deep sand that I'm fairly confident my Wolf Warrior would have a tough time with. I'm not sure. I don't think it would. And it comes with street tires or off-road knobby tires, just like the Wolf Warrior does. But again, 17-inch tires. Wow. And the shock absorbers are adjustable. So whatever your weight, whatever your riding style is, you can adjust it, which is pretty cool. Now, I live in a desert, but this is very interesting. You can buy 17-inch ice tires so you can scoot across snow and ice without losing traction. And you can see it's got the metal studs incorporated into the knobbies on the tires. Like I said, I live in a desert, but you know what? If I had one of these, I'd find some snow. I'd drive to Big Bear. I'd go up to whatever, Montana, Idaho's got to have some cool icy mountain roads. That sounds like a blast. I just have to double up on the protective gear. But did you know, scooter heads, that within 45 minutes of Las Vegas is a mountain called Mount Charleston? And here we are in the month of October, and snow. Yeah. You can drive 45 minutes from the hot desert of Las Vegas and get to snow. People ski up there. Look it up. Google it. Mount Charleston, Las Vegas. So if you want to find out more about the Mosphera or Mosphera, it's just Mosphera.com. Mosphera.com. Again, I'm not saying this is a scooter that you should buy. I'm not putting the Dagwood Streets Electric Scooter Podcast seal of approval on it, but it's interesting. If you want to find out more about it, check it out. Or be like me, sit back and put on the YouTubes and watch some of the videos because they're kind of cool. Supporting a country like Latvia, having a scooter that's made in a European country is kind of a cool idea, and I like that. And as an owner of two Wolf Warriors, one with knobby tires, one with street tires, this scooter is appealing to me. I got to get on one of these things. Scooter head. What weighs 77 pounds and goes 60 miles per hour? If you guessed the YCOM S1-X, pat yourself on the back. We just talked about the Mosphera, which is designed for durability and heavy-duty military, hunting solutions and off-road and all that. How about something that's just light and goes fast? Now, the E-Scooter Championship, or ESC, was formed in the year 2020, last year as of this podcast. And it is the world's first micromobility racing series. In 2022, what you're going to see is 30 racers on this specially designed circuit racing electric scooters. There are multiple reasons for doing that, raising awareness of e-mobility and advancing sustainable transportation solutions, obviously. But for me, and maybe some of you scooter heads, it just looks like a whole lot of fun. So what they have done is this is kind of the consumer and the producer combined, because what they're saying is this e-scooter championship, ESC, just completed delivery and testing of their first official product, which is the S1-X e-scooter. So it is built specifically for racing. And if you look it up on the internet or Google it or look at YouTube, you're going to see it's very, very stealthy looking. It is designed specifically for racing. So judging by what I'm reading here, it looks like you have the ESC, which is sponsoring scooter racing. And they went to this company, YCOM, to produce a vehicle that all 30 racers will be riding on. So it looks to me like it'll come down to the skill of the rider. This isn't a bunch of independent teams getting together and beefing up their Wolf Warriors and Ryons and all getting out there and seeing which model, which company is the fastest, who can get the best rider. All 30 competitors will be on the same scooter. Is this good or bad? I don't know. It works to their benefit. I mean, the same people putting on the races are also controlling sales of the vehicles. I just don't know. I'm reading what I can. Everything here is new. They're saying that they tested 16 different riders, and they limited the power to 40%. But even at that, the riders were really fatigued because of the high speeds and the lean angles. They say the lean angle's up to 55 degrees. But they're thinking that the riders will be able to use 100% power by the time they've had training and become accustomed to riding this vehicle. In stark contrast to the Mosphera, the S1-X is mostly made of carbon fiber and aluminum. That's how it gets the weight to 35 kilograms, 77 pounds, and it goes up to 100 kilometers per hour. I'm sure it'll go faster. That's 62 miles per hour. Like I said, on testing, when I read the statistics from the Electric Scooter Guide, the range is always way lower than what the manufacturer states. In my personal experience, speed is, to me, often faster than what they state. But who knows? And I know if these things are going to be raced, the S1-X is going to be raced. So if you're a rider, you're going to do little things, whatever you can, to get them to go a little bit faster. It has a thumb throttle, which is interesting. I suppose if you're just on the street, that's okay. My problem with the thumb throttle is if you're going over bumps, then you can't control the speed so well, the burst of speed that you get if your thumb, hits that thumb throttle as well as you can with using your index finger on a trigger throttle. Although some companies like Unagi have found a way around that where they pre-program if you slam that thumb throttle, it can tell, and it forces it to kind of slow down or ease into it. Now, there are some compromises with that. The Unagi does have a slow acceleration, which for a lot of people is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think you need to go from 0 to 40 in an eighth of a second and rip your arms out of the socket. I know with my Wolf Warriors, I do adjust the torque on them to make it a little more reasonable. So that's okay. A thumb throttle on a racer like this, yeah, fine. And there's some good thumb throttles out there. I've heard, I believe it was Electric Scooter Guide, that the best thumb throttle is actually on a little teeny e-bike, the Fido, the Fido. I thought about talking about that on one of these podcasts, but I think it is more of an e-bike. It looks like a scooter, but it has a seat on it. I don't know, but apparently they just have an amazing thumb throttle on that. And Kim has a very good thumb throttle, so I know there is a way to make outstanding thumb throttles. And for racing, it does make sense, as opposed to an all-around general user, I would say. And if you look at a picture of the S1-X manufactured by YCOM, YCOM, you will see it's all about aerodynamics. It just looks stealthy like a fighter. I don't know if I would say it looks cool. I would say it looks different. I haven't seen a price tag on these, so it looks like initially they're rolling them out. They don't even have 30 of them for the race circuit. So maybe they will become available to the public at some point. We'll see.
Don't you look at me. Let me pass on by. And don't try to talk to me, 'cause I'll just scoot on by.
And now on to the Unagi Model 11. And I always say, I'm not saying run out and buy this. Yeah, I know you hear me say it a lot because I want to be sure that I'm unbiased. I'm in the pocket of nobody. But here are what a number of well-known web pages like The Verge, Electrek, Gizmodo, Mashable, here's some of the things that they had to say. The Verge says the number of new high-tech features on this scooter is truly impressive. Swappable batteries, motion detector, alarm system, advanced driver assistance. Electrek says, and this is Electrek, Trek. Again, I can't tell you whether these guys are bought out by any companies. I don't know how they make their money. Electrek says the Model 11 is sure to shock the industry as it ushers in never-before-seen tech into the scooter space. Gizmodo includes the same collision warning sensors you'll find in fancy cars. What's a fancy car? Is it a car that has like pink paisley painted on the outside and has little teacup holders? Mashable says if a person pops into the bike lane or a car door opens, the scooter will alert you. There you go. There's your collision warning sensor. Just like found in fancy cars. Where do I get me one of them fancy cars, man? Wallpaper, I haven't heard of these guys, but they say the ultimate urban transportation tool. It's foldable, fun, and get this. This seems trivial, but it is important to me. It comes in 5 colors. Colors are important to me. I have festooned my Black Wolf Warriors with, yes, a bunch of paisley and a bunch of crazy neon colors and stuff because black, come on, it's technically not even a color. Now, white does make sense because it doesn't show the dirt. Black makes no sense. Absorbs heat. It just looks plain. It kind of blends in with the asphalt. Not a fan of the black. You'll see that when I do rapid fire sessions with people I'm interviewing, that's usually one of the questions I ask. Because some people, they're into and I get it, the murdered out, flat black, cool looking, like all the Harley Davidson motorcycles kind of look. They're going for a look that says, wow, that's not necessarily a scooter that grabs my attention, but when I look at it, it makes me think the person who owns that will kick my butt if I touch it. And that's one look, skulls and all that kind of stuff. So it comes in 5 colors. I'll look on their page and see what those colors are and let you know. I know they do have a yellow, which yellow and orange are 2 of my favorite colors for vehicles, so love the yellow. I'm only seeing 4 colors. This yellow, which I think they're calling electric yellow, and then a matte black, kind of a mint green looking thing, which is kind of cool, and a white. I like the electric yellow. That's what I'd go for. Then maybe the mint green. So maybe they have another color that's getting ready to come out that they haven't announced yet. So the Model 11 from Unagi will let you know when you're approaching a stop sign or a big pothole. It's got an audio system built into it, and it has a camera with object detection built in. The company is based in Oakland, and they have what they call an advanced driver assistance system, ADAS, ADAS, kind of like you see on cars. It will let you know about stop signs, if a person pops into the lane in front of you, or even if a car door opens. Wow, that's going to have to be quick. I think it's going to let you know after the fact, after you go flying elbow over tea kettle. They say, the CEO's name is David Hyman. Hi, man. And he said that it's the first smart scooter. So we had the all-terrain military scooter, then we had the racing scooter, and now we've got the smart scooter. It isn't autonomous, obviously. Both hands on the handlebars, please. But it has this kind of like visionary or visual and auditory sensors that get information from the camera and these sensors that will prompt the scooter to take over and hit the brake or just slow you down in dangerous situations. That part, the ADAS, I don't think they've incorporated yet. So that's why they're showing two models, one that's a little over $2,000 and one that's like $2,500. The $2,500 one, I am guessing, hasn't come out yet, but it's going to have that crazy system on it. But it does come with an app, and you can do kind of a smartphone kind of thing with directions. You can say where you're going to go, and it will play your directions through the scooter's audio systems. That way you don't have to worry about your phone. And I have had a phone go flying one time. I went over a large parking lot bump. Instead of just cruising over it slowly, I thought I'd get a little air. Unfortunately, my phone got a little air, and it was all protected. I had a good case on it and everything. But so I can see how this would be useful. Finally, we're going to wrap up the Electric Scooter Podcast episode here. But one more thing is it will alert you before it gets moved. So if somebody stole your scooter, you can use a remote kill switch in the app. And the fine people who stole your scooter won't be able to use it except as like a very cool looking paperweight. The yellow color is called electric yellow. Matte black, there's your murdered out version, and mint green. Now this is not a big macho looking scooter. This is for people who want something lightweight, cruise around in an urban area, and like really high tech. It's sort of as if Apple made a scooter. All right, scooter heads, the Unagi Model 11. Interesting. Keep your eye on it. And with that, here ends the episode. So until next time, keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down.